Hello everyone, I'm Lonnie,
I'm Amber.
and we're Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hicks, Tennessee. This is the second episode of Black Mirror we're going to be talking about, Netflix original. The episode was called 15 Million Merits, and I promoted this one to you that I'd already seen, and I said it was better than the first one, but not quite as good as the third one. And you haven't seen the third one yet.
No, I haven't.
But
And I will still watch the third one. I mean, I'll finish this season at least with you.
I think there's like either 4 or 6 episodes. I can't remember.
Okay. Like, we'll see.
I'm pretty sure the first season's pretty short. But this episode was basically, I'm assuming, is like some type of future where commercialism has gotten way out of hand.
Yes.
And people spend the days, or what I'm assuming, and here's the thing, they don't really do a good job of explaining.
That's my whole problem with this episode.
Yeah, I want to know more about this world.
Yes.
I want to see what's outside these buildings. I want to see.
That is the biggest flaw in this episode. That's what ruins it.
Maybe that's what makes it good too. Is you're always supposed to leave your audience wanting a little bit more.
Okay, but not enough that it fucking ruins it. I mean, yeah.
Well,
not to mention, it's like they're all standalone episodes, correct?
Yeah.
So they'll never go back to it.
Probably not, no.
Ever. And so you're like, what even got it to that point? Or hell, I mean, like you said, what's outside the building? There's probably nothing, because they all spend their days doing that. But there has to be something, because in the show they have something similar to American Idol.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how'd the judges get that position? How did they even come up with that,
Yeah. And it was probably just an evolution of what we have now.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Basically what you have is what I'm assuming is the lower class citizens. You've got just, it almost looks like a prison cell block of where people go to this little place that almost looks like a gym, and they pedal these bicycles. And it is revealed at the end of the episode that, of course, the bicycles generate power. Mm-hmm. Well, people earn merits, with basically credits, electronic credits. They can use them to buy food, toothpaste.
Everything costs credits.
Yeah, I'm assuming showers, whatever.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you are not able to earn your keep, you end up being like janitors and cleanup crew.
Yeah.
And I guess you're looked at as even a lower class citizen than the bicyclers.
Right.
And I'm assuming at that point they probably just off you if you can't do that. I'm assuming. Who knows? Who knows if they have nursing homes for people who can't do that anymore, or if
or if they just let you die.
Yeah, they just let you die.
Which I could see they just letting you die, because at one point, let's recap. The guy had 15 million.
He had
more than that. He had what, like 18 million?
No, he had like 15 million and some change. He had inherited the 12 from his deceased brother.
Yeah.
So he meets this girl that he really likes, and he decides to. She fancies herself a singer.
Yeah.
And so he gives her 15 million credits for her to go on like this American Idol type singing show. Once she gets on there and he goes with her, come to find out, we've had our fill of singers. That's enough. We would love to put you in porn, is basically what happens. And she accepts it because even though she doesn't want to, she would rather do that than go back to pedaling on a bicycle every day.
We should have gave her a warning at the beginning of this video, like we did the other one. I'm just throwing that out there.
Black Mirror.
I'm just saying. People aren't always going to watch the first one first. They might just pick one.
Very true.
But you might need to put a disclaimer in the description. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yes.
Especially after everything that happened the last time we mentioned adult films.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's part of the show.
It is part of the series we are talking about.
Yeah, and you can't really talk about the episode plot, the
without
synopsis,
saying it.
without
Yeah.
saying that, because it's like the biggest part of the show.
Yes, it was really, that was a twist that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, she accepts it and ends up going into that.
Yeah, because she's, I mean, and can you blame her, really? Like, that wouldn't really be my thing, but I also wouldn't want to pedal a bike the rest of my life either.
That's very true. And that was her one opportunity.
It was.
It was never going to happen again.
It was her one opportunity to, I mean, that's what they told her. You would never have to pedal a bike again.
And what was really messed up is they told, the woman told her, she was like, forget the shame, forget the bad feelings, they'll medicate that right out of you. Yeah. I was like, dang.
Yeah, and so I could imagine. And I think that is what they did to begin with when they made her drink whatever that was.
Yeah.
Because you noticed she kind of felt lightheaded and woozy and not all there.
And you could tell that he didn't want to be under the influence of it because they tried to give it to him and he had saved hers that he had hid all that time. And he was like, nope, I've already drank all mine. They gave me one back there. And the woman didn't question it. Mm-hmm. So he saves up after he sees that she's gone into this.
But my point, though, while he was saving up, you see him kind of scounging for food.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's what would happen if you, for some reason, didn't have any credits. You would be just scounging for food, and if you don't find it, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like you are. You would just starve and die.
Yeah. But he was also doing that to save money.
Yes. Because he wanted to go on there and prove a point is what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and what's really weird is it seemed to only take him a couple of months to do that. Granted, he worked his tail off.
Because he was going in when nobody was in there.
Yeah, he was going in as soon as the lights came on, and he was the last one to leave. Mm-hmm. He went from using a full bristles length of toothpaste to just a tiny little dot.
Squirt.
Just enough to do the job.
1 credit.
Yeah, 1 credit instead of like 5 or 6 to begin with. He was doing that. He was not buying his own food. He was like taking leftovers off people's plates. Mm-hmm. He was, whenever the machine would jam up and a piece would get left up in there, he knew a trick that he could reach up and take the fruit without the people knowing. Mm-hmm. Just little things like that. He was sitting down, you could, their little 1-room cubicle that they live in is surrounded with video screens, and advertisements will pop up, and you have to watch them or pay credits to get past it. And he, at the beginning of the episode, he was paying credits to skip it. Mm-hmm. Well, it got to the point where he couldn't.
Yeah,
and it just so happened it was that girl's like first commercial, and he had to sit there and just watch it. And it was messed up because if you closed your eyes, the cameras in your thing would recognize that your eyes were closed, and it like the whole screen would go red all around you, and it would make like this loud, high pitched like beeping noise that would get worse the longer you kept your eyes closed. And it was just really messed up the way it. And I could see in an extreme situation, this is like another one of those social commentaries on commercialism and social media and stuff. I could see in an extreme case the way things are now becoming that. Mm-hmm. Think about how many ads. You remember back in the early 90s, people were complaining, oh no, I hate all these ads and stuff. Look at how many ads we see on a daily basis now. Mm-hmm. Facebook, Twitter, everything, YouTube. Somebody's watching this video. Chances are they watched 1 or 2 ads before the video.
Yeah, at least 1.
And, a lot of times, there's even, and I'm sure they borrowed from this, but there are even places now, where it's like, you play an online game or something, and it's like, hey, you watch this ad, we'll give you 500 tokens. Or, are you out of tokens? Well, you can earn some by watching these commercials or taking this survey.
Get an extra life, or get this bonus thing to help you, or da-da-da. Yep.
And it would eventually...
And a lot of people were like, yeah, I'll watch the 30-second commercial.
Yeah. And so we're just full of ads. Advertising everywhere. it's like the way it went from like 20 years ago to now to 20 years from now is basically what this looks like at that same rate.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Like, I don't know if this is like a post-apocalyptic world, or maybe it's something like the Matrix where everything's destroyed outside, or at the very end, spoiler alert, the guy ends up going in front of the judges. He earns all of his money back and he goes in front of the judges, and he puts a broken piece of glass through his throat and just goes off on everybody, the whole system, the judges, everybody. And they finally, they see that he's serious, but at the same time they're like, oh, this is like the best show that's been put on here since we've been here. Now, of course, it was legitimate.
Yeah, well, it's like they said, it's the rawest thing since it started. Well, yeah, it was the rawest thing since it started because he didn't have the juice beforehand.
Yeah.
Not
only that, but they offer him his own show, twice weekly, 30 minutes a pop, where he can get up there, and his whole deal is he stands there in front of the camera with a shard of glass to his throat. That becomes like his trademark, and he basically sold out. And
he did sell out, but what do you do?
Yeah. Chances are they may have had him killed if he didn't accept it at that point. He ended up with a really good life, being able to drink fresh orange juice and having a big apartment.
Yeah, and he could actually see the outside, though, remember?
Was that the real outside?
No, I think that looked real.
It did. It wasn't cartoony, but maybe the higher class citizen you are, the more realistic your video background is or something. That was what I was thinking. They never fully explained that.
No, they didn't fully explain a lot of shit in this show.
Was that real? That was going to be one of my big questions at the end. Was his view real? If it was real, what the crap? It was like a big lush forest. What are they doing? Like that could be anything. Aliens could have come down out of the sky and said, holy crap, y'all are destroying the planet. We're confining y'all to these little commercialized cubicles, and we're letting the planet regrow itself.
It may be. Maybe
that could have happened, and they're just not telling anybody about it. That's just the way things have always been. And the Earth is repopulating or what. I don't know, but what do you give this episode?
What do I give this episode? Yeah, I'm going to say a 7.
Okay, I'm going to give this episode an 8.5. It would have been a 9 or a 9.5. But you're right. The first 20 to 30 minutes of this episode just dragged. But
it's so boring.
Once they get to the reality, the singing competition,
it picked
from
up
then on, it was like a 10 for me. But the rest of it dragged it down a little bit. But yeah,
like I said, I wasn't too impressed.
It was kind of a slow burn. And to be honest, episode 3 is kind of like that, but you figure out what's going on a lot quicker, and it doesn't.
That's a part of it. You can have a slow burn if you know what's going on.
Yeah, you know what's going. You know what's going on in 3.
You know what I'm saying,
So.
There's a lot of unexplained in this episode.
Yeah.
And you're right. It did pick up when they got the singing competition, and then the whole. I really just expected him to, as slow burning and as boring as the show was, I really just expected him to kill himself right then and there on stage. Or to try to stab somebody else. You know what I mean?
But it's a classic thing, is if you have somebody who, like him, would be like a martyr, basically. It's a lot easier to make them a really big offer and just take them off of the table. It was like, what was it on that episode of The Simpsons where Homer was like the working man's champion, and he was fighting for their dental plan and everything, and Mr. Burns brought him in and promoted him and made him a big high dollar offer and everything, and removed him out of the picture to where, they wouldn't have their champion anymore. That's
Yeah.
kind of what they did in this episode.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah. They
Exactly.
got him out of the way because he was a problem, and they were like, "Look, we'll give you." And they knew that once he was put in front of a camera and given his own show and given all these luxuries, that he wouldn't want to give that up. His message would become watered down, and he'd just be another piece of entertainment. Mm-hmm. Because he was a real danger there for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If he would have said no, even if they would have gotten rid of him, that could have been the spark that caused some kind of rebellion where the people are like, no, we're not slaving away. Oh, there's Logan.
Yeah.
He's not having a really good time of it. We had to put flea medicine on the back of his neck, and he doesn't react very well to it, but he's got to have it. So he's not feeling 100%.
Buddy.
But just like last time, he'll be a little bit, you can't pat him on the back of the neck.
I can see that, honey.
He's my good boy. He just wants attention.
He does.
He's like, yes. Yes, I'm going to milk this. All right. Well, anyway, since we're patting Logan now,
Let's wrap.
everybody have a good rest of the day. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amber. And this is
And
Logan.
we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee. This has been the second episode review, Black Mirror. The episode was called 15 Million Merits.